This brief video presents some of the common ways in which graphics are used to improve learning experiences. A common rule of fiction writing is show, don't tell. A common rule of good instruction is to show and tell. Before these categories are presented, it's good to just be reminded of some of the common ways in which teachers use instructional graphics in general. One way is to use graphics just to help gain attention for the learners as you begin to present something new or important. The other, of course, is to provide some very specific examples of things visually. The other is use graphics to communicate relationships between things. Graphs are really good at this. Another is just to aid in the visualization of some important concepts that you're trying to teach. And if you want learners to be able to visualize mentally, even with their eyes closed, it is often good to present some graphics that help sort of cue or prime those kinds of visualizations. And of course, sometimes it's really important to practice certain skills using visuals. If you have to label certain things or interpret certain things, those could be represented as graphics. And finally, one other really common way that graphics are used are to promote positive attitudes towards towards things that you want students to learn how to do well. Now, I remember, I'll give you an example of this. I remember when I was younger, there used to be this sort of common attitudinal promotion in libraries in which famous people were depicted with famous books. For example, I remember this. I remember Alan Rickman, who you may remember as Snape from the Harry Potter movies. I remember him being depicted as on a poster reading The Catcher in the Rye. And for some people, the actor who plays Snape draws attention, but also influences attitudes in a positive way. I actually remember Alan Rickman before the Harry Potter movies as Hans Gruber, the antagonist in the movie Die Hard. Here he is falling off the Nakatomi Plaza building. Important part of the movie. So the first category of instructional graphics are referred to as decorative, and those are graphics that just are used for aesthetic appeal, humor, possibly attention getting. Good example would just be the art on the cover of a book, or in some cases, cartoons that are kind of dispersed through books or even PowerPoint presentations. Another category are representational graphics. These are used to support the teaching of facts or concepts, and these are graphics that are used to depict an object or objects in a realistic fashion. Another category of graphics are called mnemonics. Again, these are graphics that can help support the learning of facts. And these are simply graphics that provide retrieval cues for factual information. So in this example, it's a visual way to try to recall the definition of the word melange. Organizational graphics are also used to support facts and concepts. And these are graphics that show some usually qualitative relationships among the content. So generally in this image, what are some of the general differences between what is considered to be left brain characteristics and right brain characteristics? And the graphic helps organize the different characteristics that are being promoted in the information. Relational graphics are very important, also used to support the learning of concepts as well as processes. So here's just an example that shows a graphic, in this case, a graph that depicts the relationship between the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and the temperature of our planet, the average temperatures, surface temperatures, and you can see this representation goes back about 800,000 years, and so you can see this fluctuation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere as well as temperatures. Of course, when you get to on the lower right hand side, if you can see it, there's a 0. That's the year 2000. So you can see that carbon dioxide measurements have gone quite higher over the last, say, 50 years or 100 years. And certainly that's going to have an impact on the temperature of our planet when you can clearly visualize the relationship between those two variables. Then another category of graphics are transformational, and these are graphics that are used to support the learning of processes, procedures, or certain principles. So here's a common graphic depicting the water cycle. And finally, the last category are called interpretive graphics. And again, these are graphics used to support the learning of concepts, processes, and principles. And so these can be very important when used with verbal information, as well as other examples to help learners interpret and understand concepts and processes and principles. And that's it.